Sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies.
Let it
resound.
Let it resound.
Loud as the rolling sea.
I like this part right here. Come on.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on.
Let us march on.
Till victory is won.
Maybe add a little something to it. Just encourage you. We'll take it to church.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday, y'all. We live, we here. It's Friday night, and I'm so glad to see each and every one of you. I see the numbers going up. Please make sure that as you are coming in that you're hitting the share button. One thing we do over here Friday Night Live, we share. All right. So please, if you hit that share button, I will be eternally grateful. It's the equivalent of a hug these days, since I can't hug people. So if you share, I feel like you're giving me a hug. I feel like you're shaking up and letting me know that you're here with me. All right. So please hit that share button. Also, what I want you to do is say hello, type hi, type what's up, type what's good, type how you doing. All right. Something. Let me know that you're here. All right. So I want to see that start coming in. Hit that share button. Say hey, and let me know that y'all are here right now. I'm so glad to have you guys here on here with me. I appreciate it. Elias, what's going on, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. Kimiko, how are you? You know, now anybody that knows me knows I'm a little fancy. All right. So I'm gonna make sure I got my stuff together, especially if I'm gonna be before the people. Y'all already know how it goes. I'm surprised I don't got a suit and tie on today. It's quarantine. I don't went casual during quarantine. Good to have you guys here. Senta, thank you for being on. Appreciate it. Ashton, good to have you on. What's going on, Onisha? Hey, sis. Good to see y'all. All right, so here's what we're going to do. As you guys continue to come in, I will continue to greet you all. Please continue to share. Let's continue to do that. But what I want to do is I want to start getting my special guests in here with me. All right. So I have a group of individuals who are all simply amazing. Simply amazing. There's no way around that word. There's no way to really put them into words, but these are good individuals that I think are really going to help me with this discussion tonight. They are as equally as woke and as equally as petty as me. Maybe some of them are even more petty than me, if I'm being really candid and honest here, because that's what we do at Friday Night Live. So first of all, I want you guys to welcome in one of my best friends. This guy has been ride or die, and you'll see more of how that is so in the conversation tonight. So first, I want y'all to give it up for Bishop Devin Tyler, sir. How are you? You good?
Yo, what's up, bro?
You saw I put the bishop on there right at the end before I brought you on.
Always playing. And I resent, we are not petty. I am not a petty person, so I resent that.
All right. That is to be shown before the night is over. All right. We're going to see if you're a liar or not. So y'all, as the people are coming in, put the clapping emojis in the comments if y'all don't mind. Please do that. The next person, she is very dear to my heart. Me and her like this. Connection is great. and she is definitely one of my good friends and one of those people. You got had those people that you can really confide in, that they're not gonna judge you no matter what. She's one of those people, that's always in my corner. So y'all give it up for Miss Davinia Doss. How are you, ma'am?
Hello. That was the
Good
sweetest
to see you.
introduction.
Good
You
to
always
see
get
you.
the best introductions. And I also received that petty comment. I'm ready. I'm very
Okay.
ready. Why
See,
not?
that's what I want. I want you to receive it. I don't want you to fight
Wow.
against it. All
Let's
right.
jump
That's
into
definitely
it.
not what I want. All right. And then the last person that is here with us is now, when you go into the educational space, there's that staff member, student, barrier there. But I'm so glad that there are staff members that become friends after you leave that arena and that educational space. And this next person right here is just that, a true queen, y'all, a true queen. All right, someone who is holding her own out here in these streets and will let you know what's up. All right, and be nice at the same time. Look at that. So y'all give it up for Jasmine as she comes in. Jasmine, how are you, ma'am?
Hello. Oh my gosh. I love y'all. What's going on?
Yes, nothing much. Good to have you on, ma'am. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you for blessing me
Yes.
today with your wonderful faces.
Come on, come on. So y'all, we get ready to jump into this. Let me give a little disclaimer, because before the pettiness and the conversation ensues, let it be made known that whatever we discuss tonight, because we're discussing being Black at a predominantly white institution, whatever institution we say we do love, all right? So I don't want to get no email come Monday.
We saw the live, Raphael.
Come on, exactly.
saw
We
it.
saw the live and we just want to connect and talk. So just let it be known off jump that we love the institutions that we are referring to tonight. But this conversation is more to give people insight and to really let them know what it's like, as a Black person. Okay, we
Yes.
just want to let people know. We just want to talk tonight. All right, y'all. So Friday Night Live family, I just want to let y'all know that if you have not already, please hit the share button. Remember, that's your form of a hug or a handshake for me in these quarantine times. So please go ahead and hit that real quick. All right. So jumping right in. Well, before that, where are my manners? How are you all doing? Are you all good? How was your week? My God.
Anybody
Did you hear how everybody was like, wow, loaded question. No, week was good. I think it's safe to say, I know I can speak for all of us. I'm very blessed. I'm grateful we're still here. It's been a little bit tiring of a week because Chicago's weather, we are transitioning into fall. I have on a turtleneck on purpose. I want people to get the message. We are transitioning into fall, and the weather affects things and mood. So it's nice that it's the weekend and it's beautiful to be here with y'all. So we're here.
Good stuff. Devin, Jasmine, how y'all doing?
I gotta add to that. It's been a week. Just this online platform for a lot of institutions, between me being in school and me working at a school that has a little bit of both. It's been a little bit of a interesting ride for the students, interesting ride for myself. And to Davinia's point, it is getting a little nippy out here in these streets. So I got some swag on. Shout out to my guy. He hooked us up with these hoodies. But yeah, I'm here, blessed, too blessed to be too stressed. So
hello.
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly. I mean, I'm in the same boat. It's been a long week. It's funny that we had Monday off. It feels like a super long week this week, but highlight of the week is seeing these beautiful people. I've missed so many of you guys, and so I'm super excited to be with my family. And yeah, Chicago weather. That's my heat is on. I ain't even got time to be playing. So. But I do not like being cold.
No.
No, I do not like being cold.
I'd rather be cold than hot, though. So Give me some layers, honey.
At least with Cole, you put some layers on. You right. There's only so much you could take off. My God.
Mm-hmm.
So to jump in here, y'all. Okay, so this is where I want to open this up. I want to ease us on in here. So what I want to do first is so just to let you guys know, we got a little different sides here. So we have students and then we have staff as well to kind of give you both sides. That way you're just not thinking, oh, this the students on here talking. No, we wanted the staff on here as well. Let y'all know we're not just out here talking crazy. All right. So what I want you guys to do is for Devin and Davinia, I want you guys to tell your story on how you got to your predominantly white institution, how you chose that school, and kind of tell us that story. Give us that journey and let us know what school you did go to. And Jasmine, kind of give your story on, as a staff member, the different places that you have worked and how you pretty much landed in those spaces. So let's go Davinia first, then Devin, and then Jasmine.
So you also say you want us to tell what school we went to, yes?
Yes.
So I went to Lake Forest College, which is,
and what you majored in as well. Thank you.
Thank you, of course. Went to Lake Forest College, majored in English, minored in legal and African American studies. And I want to start by saying that, I'm a Forester for sure. It's ingrained in me. I am a Forester, but that's what allows me to also participate in this conversation and be, in a sense, is critical. But I knew when I went to college that I wanted to go small, and I was pretty sure I wanted to go private as well. And I got accepted to big schools. I got accepted to other smaller schools. And I really ended up at Lake Forest because they really kind of make it a mission to bring in students of color, students from the city, students who are like highly intelligent, but maybe first gen as well, these different layers. And Lake Forest fit because they won't give up on you. You're going to get them brochures. You're going to get them calls. You're going to get them invites to them dinners where Aramark do the good chicken breast and a good string beans. You're going to get invited to those things. And it pulled me in, not being far from home, and also small class sizes, just kind of standard things. But the experience was definitely that of a PWI, in the sense of there were times where I was the only Black person somewhere, or there were times where it was only 2 of us somewhere, and we are able to make the joke, it's only 10 of us here. We are able to make that joke, and it's a good joke because it's true. And so it was at the same time, I feel like at any institution, but mainly at PWI, I found a inner fire in myself where I was like, absolutely not. I am not paying this amount of money for tuition and not speaking up. And I'm not paying this amount of money for the president of the school not to know me by my first name.
Come
Gut,
on.
if you're watching, I love you, President. I love President.
If you out there in the interwebs,
Listen, he's my fave, but yes. I never held back at Lake Forest when it came to those things because hey Kiana, because Raphael was watching, Devin, you were watching, Jasmine came in when we were already established, Jasmine is watching. It's when you're in those spaces, if you have that power and that capacity, sometimes you step up and you be that Black person because you breathe in other Black people. So it was a white experience, but I'm also not to be played with at all. And I let Lake Forest know that from the jump.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. That's a good opening statement. All right, Devin. As she drinks her tea.
This is
out of my ring.
My goodness.
My Black sea. A little funny.
This is about to be something, Lord. All right. So I echo Davinia completely. So like you said initially, I am definitely a Forester. It's just kind of in my blood at this point. 4 years at that institution was 4 years was a interesting, great, phenomenal experience. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Davinia is absolutely right. There were times where it's like, whew, all right, you're dealing with a lot. You're like the weight of being black. You fully felt it. But I'm not going to say that it was not a fun experience. I love Lake Forest. I love the people that we interacted with, both students, staff, faculty. Um, Davinia called out President Scott. He is still one of my favorite people. He is
Oh hell.
phenomenal. um, he is an awesome man, and that doesn't mean we always saw eye to eye. That doesn't mean that we were always on the same page. In fact, we weren't always on the same page.
Right.
And if we want to get like, we can talk about everything that we disagreed on, but you know, the fact that Lake Forest, they pride themselves in developing critical thinkers, and it's great that you do that, and they force you to do that from an academic standpoint. But one of the repercussions of that is that you become a critical thinker, and so you start examining, and you start seeing stuff that that's different from me. Why is that? Why do I experience this differently than person X or person Y? And then you have to call to attention those certain interactions. And so I guess you were asking how did I come there? I think I jumped right
How did
in.
you arrive?
Um,
Yes.
yeah, so I was not looking at Lake Forest as an institution at all, actually. My heart was set on going to Indiana University to go to Kelley School of Business. I had gotten accepted into the program. I was super excited to go out. But that out of state tuition, Jesus, it
Mm.
snuck up on somebody. I almost
Talk
said
about
that.
it. Talk about it.
It snuck up on the ninja. And so scholarships weren't coming through like I had originally planned. And so I had to make a last minute pivot. And as I was pivoting, Lake Forest and their great marketing efforts saw an opportunity to pounce on a young, aspiring, up and coming Black man. And they sure did. They won me over with some scholarship money. They won me over with the small classes, with the opportunity to grow and develop and lead. And so here you have it. I am a product of a great institution that happened to be a predominantly white institution.
Now let me just put an aside right there and say kudos to the marketing for Lake Forest because man let me just say that. Let me just say that off jump because if you know anything about Lake Forest College, and if you don't, you about need to Google and just go ahead and let yourself be blessed. They have figured out a good way to market themselves. They found their niche and they working it. They working it hard. And they do well about making sure that people know we're a small liberal arts college and this is what we offer. Take it or leave it. So definitely want to just throw that in there. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Well, I mean, so my experience is a little bit different. Once and always will be a Saluki. My daughter is now a Saluki, SIU Carbondale. So I went to a mid-sized public institution. We argue that we are in a lot of ways HBCU of the Midwest because it was just black, all black everything when I was down there. And so I originally did radio, television, decided that was not my platform or my calling. And so I ended up falling into student affairs, higher education. And I started, at Northern Illinois University in housing for a while, working with, certain student populations, first gen, low income students of color, and realized that I wanted to do more work with diversity and inclusion. So I was very specific around opportunities that I found myself involved with. And then from there, I'm like, all right, this ain't it no more. So what's next? And I actually fell into Lake Forest. I wanted to have a small school experience. All my other institutions have been pretty large for the most part. And so I actually interviewed when I was sick, and I'm like, they're about to hire me. And from the day I got on that campus for the interview, I'm like, man, this may be it. And next thing you know, I got that call and I transitioned there. And I have, matter of fact, on my Facebook a couple weeks ago, I had the welcome crew. UBA came in showing out like, who is this? Who this Black girl coming up in here? So from that day on, I'm like, man, this is about to be the move. So it was a really great opportunity when I was there. It was a lot of amazing people. And to your point, y'all were some critical thinkers, and you definitely challenged staff and faculty administrators. And, ultimately you all graduated and I left. And so there's still some amazing things happening to my understanding. There's still some challenging things that are going on. But yeah, that's essentially my journey related to Lake Forest. I'm in another institution now that's predominantly white and same predominantly white issues with Black students. You know, I don't think that's anything new at any other institution where you have a group of students of color in a majority space. And so I think that's very real for people. But yeah.
Definitely. All right. So before we go a little deeper, I want to play a little game. Okay. First thing that comes to your head. All right. And this for the people in the comments too. The
This
people
sounds
in the
like a
comments.
setup.
I want to see what y'all gonna
Let me
say
take my
too.
hair down.
All right.
Let me take this down. I need to get comfortable because you ain't about to
Come
get
on, get comfortable. Settle in. We about to take off. All right. So first thing that comes to your mind, you know, you went to a predominantly white institution if say
they
it.
try to touch your hair.
Mm-hmm. Try to touch your hair.
They try to touch your hair. Is this real?
Davinia?
My first thought was, you know, Jasmine, you got me with touch your hair. You know, you went to a predominantly white institution when they asked you to teach them the new latest dance. Like they set my girl Gabby Douglas up on the thing. Still don't know what she was doing.
Yo, you ain't lying.
They will definitely try that. Or you know, you went to a predominantly white institution where people tell you how smart they think you are, like overly though.
Yes, or how articulate you are.
Articulate. Oh, you're so articulate.
Oh, you talk so well.
Jeez.
Yeah, so eloquent of a speaker.
My God. Good to have you on, Lee.
Hello,
Lee.
Devin, how about you?
Hey, Lee.
So I know that I'm at a white institution when every party, predominantly white, when every party has to play Sweet Caroline or whatever that song is. Dun, dun, dun.
No.
My God.
Oh.
This is good. What y'all got in the comments?
You think it's deep, Devin?
Exactly. I want to see what the comments
the turn up was real. The turn up was real. People love that song. Like,
no, like love that song.
I'm weak. For me, the first thing that came to my head is when you know who all the Black people are on campus. Like, let somebody step on the campus that has not been there before. When I tell you
do you need? Are you by yourself?
Exactly. Talking about who is that?
Anybody?
Yep.
Exactly.
Are you somebody's brother?
Yeah, it was like a radar went up. Like we texting people like, who is so and so wearing the green hoodie and the jeans
and the calf? Said she
exactly.
In. Did y'all
exactly?
Y'all weren't on this?
Oh my goodness! All right, so that was good. I was hoping some people in the comments would drop something in there. I guess they feeling a little shy or they don't want to expose themselves. It's okay. But thank y'all for that. Yours was the one of the night, sir. Yours was the night. I'm making sure that I archive that one. All right, so in there, so you at a predominantly white institution. You know, the coming into that at first, you know, what was your first encounter? Tell us about your first encounter where you felt and where you were reminded and where you came to the conclusion that you were outnumbered, meaning that you knew that you were in the minority on the campus. Can you think of a time when that kind of became clear to you?
Who do you want to go first?
Jasmine, you can go first because you said it. And then Devin and then Davinia.
Okay.
That's a good one, Aisha, by the way. Are you an international student?
Facts. Talk about the microaggressions. Oh man, I would say for me, every time I step into a room, I'm one of the few. Every time someone asks me a question, have you seen such and such? 10 times out of 10, they are a person of color. You should meet this person. They're just amazing. Yeah, because they're POC. a bunch of amazing people on the campus, particularly Lake Forest, was a bunch of amazing people. But I remember one particular time, well, multiple particular times, people would ask me, have I met specific folks? And every last one of those folks happened to be a Black person, a Black student, a Black faculty member, a Black alumni. Every room that I went into, there was a lot more, I'd say, racial diversity at Lake Forest compared to where I am and compared to where I've been in certain spaces. But yeah, every time somebody asks me if I know someone, or every time I step into a space, or every time I ask a question when someone has some dumb response around what an issue was with a student, very accusatory in a lot of ways. And so every time I call stuff out, oh, well, I don't know if that, well, you're not Black, so, you know, there's that. You don't understand the context of what's happening with this student as a whole. And I saw a lot of white savior stuff happening at all the institutions. So I'm not just talking about one in particular. So those are some examples.
All right, wonderful. I'm not gonna pick apart that first. I wanna go to everybody else. So Devin and then Davinia.
Yeah, that's a good one, Jasmine. For me, I think the first realization, and I mean, obviously, I grew up, I went to a relatively diverse high school, so it wasn't my first experience, but I think that Lake Forest was slightly less diverse than my high school. But my first real experience with it was when I had to argue that people are not colorblind. And I distinctly remember a full-on argument with a handful of people in the class where everybody was insinuating that they could be colorblind and that you don't see race and you don't see color and we need to operate like that. And it's just like, guys, it's not how it works. It's not how we're designed. It was arguing for an entire culture and an entire race that I realized, like, all right, I am significantly outnumbered right now, and it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of patience if I really want to push this point across.
Got you.
Mhm.
All right, Davinia.
Wow, I love everybody here. One of my first one of my experiences was very similar to what Devin said. I was in a legal studies class, going back and forth with this white boy in my class, and he said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, people should just kind of be okay," like, you know, very passive, very privileged, very, very colorblind, and just, as we say these days, had no intentions on reading the room. You know what I mean? And I might have been the only Black person in there. I want to say maybe I was. There might have been one other person of color, but that's still different. And I remember, like, literally in that class being like, "You are absolutely wrong. I think that you're incredibly ignorant. And the thing is that what you're saying is borderline racist. Like, I don't even understand how you could have this opinion out loud in this class." And I mean, we're in Lake Forest class is small as a shotgun house. And you know, the class is small. That's why I went there.
Yep, you're right.
I remember sitting there, and thank God I had the professor that I had. I want to give a huge shout out to Professor Debbie Levis. She's phenomenal.
Yes,
She's
one of my favorites.
She's phenomenal.
Yes, she is.
And she came up to me and she said, "I love that, and I want to talk to you after class." And then she continued on, you know, because it was a tense moment, but she later told me, she said, "I'm really happy that you said something and I could see it heating you up." And she said, "And I don't want you to think necessarily that what he said was correct and that's why I didn't. But the thing is that it's nice to see who's in the class when the law is applied. You know, she's been teaching law, she's aware. And it's in those moments where you're like, I don't know who in the room thinks that I'm being a loud Black angry woman who's yelling at this white fragile college football beer drinking boy, but I don't care. But the fact that, like, everybody was looking like, You know, it's in those moments where you're like, we at Lake Forest, in Lake Forest, where it's not a college town, it's a town with a college, and that makes a lot of a difference as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it puts it back into perspective for sure.
Man, that was good. That was good. Um, let's see here. So for me, I would say that the first time I realized it was no, that's for something different. I think the first time that I realized it was in a situation where so I was sitting at a table with a group of people and someone asked about Chicago and is it really as dangerous as the news says that it is? Because they were afraid to go down there, and there was an air at the table where everyone kind of was of the same, like, "Oh yeah, Chicago's very dangerous." I was looking around like, what? I mean, you know, it's pockets, but there's also a lot of good stuff going on in Chicago. Like it was like a deathly afraid moment. And I had to, you know, kind of bring some knowledge to the conversation and say, you know, don't get this thing twisted. Chicago is still a beautiful city with a lot of beautiful people. Don't believe the hype. And just kind of had to bring them back to that and kind of let them know that it goes beyond downtown. It goes beyond Roosevelt, the Roosevelt stop. All right. So I think that was the first instance for me that I can remember off jump where it was like, okay, this is gonna be different. All right, cool. So there's that. I want to kind of because we got some people that are asking questions in the comments, so I want to be mindful of that as well because I think some of this is good. So we had Greg who said, aside from experiencing overt stereotyping, do you also have examples of the opposite where people were too politically correct around you, and how did you handle those situations? So can anyone think of a situation where someone was too politically correct and it was kind of like you necessarily don't have to do that, ma'am, kind sir?
If I may,
I mean,
I'll
oh,
go, Jasmine,
go
please.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
I'm not gonna get too petty. Great question, Greg. Um, I'm gonna get deep.
Go ahead,
We
step on in the pool. Uh-oh, hold on, can y'all hear her?
Oh,
No,
here I am.
come
Hello.
oh, there you go. Okay.
There I go.
Okay, there you go.
You're back. Yeah.
Pardon me, family. You can get that from students, but when I received it from faculty, and I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there.
Amen.
When you receive that from faculty, Greg, it shows you that ugly but very real truth that these things are still being taught, encouraged, allowed, and just given air to breathe. Because I've had a faculty after a class about race relations, etc. Like later be like, "Hey, I think that you did really good in class." That's their voice. "Hey, I think that you did really good in class. And, you know, I really just want to say that I really feel," and I'm sitting there like, I know on this land, as Cicely Tyson said, on this land, that we did not just leave that class, and that is also what you choose to say. Like to relieve yourself of this white guilt and privilege that you have, which is the main point of the class. But most importantly, why with me? Why not go somewhere safe and do it, which is probably with other white people you may know? And then also your faculty. Like, reel it in.
Mm-hmm.
And so that over politeness, the too politically correct, you could see the insecurity people have, and they're compensating for it. And it unfortunately, it's one of those things where you go and you talk to your friends about it, and it's typical and as understandable in the Black community. We shake our heads together, because we're not shocked, but we might be surprised, but we're not shocked. So
Say that.
either way it goes, there's no shocking in that. It's upsetting and it's surprising at times.
That was good. That was good. Jasmine, I know you were itching to say something, so I'm gonna just let you jump in right there.
I will say this. When I am in spaces with people that are afraid to name what's in the room, I make it a point to make sure I bring the discomfort. I make it a point to address whatever elephant needs to be there. And I also choose to do that in a way that my hope is that I invite you into the conversation. However, if you decide to use your voice in a way that's going to manifest my oppression in spaces, I will then proceed to read you for filth in whatever way that needs to happen. And I've had that happen in many spaces, and it has, the more I come into myself, the more I educate myself around who I am and how I take up space, the easier it is for me, because I'm not only doing it for myself, I'm also doing it for the person that's coming in after me. I'm also doing that for students that don't feel like they have a voice because of those power structures that are in place. And so I think that the world right now, we are in a changing world. Historically it's been white, right? But if you pay attention to the demographics, it's shifting. And so I think, as we're even going into another volatile election, right, into, unrest. Now, think about it. When I first got to Lake Forest, it was when the first wave of Black Lives Matter happened. And I'm from St. Louis, so it was when Mike Brown happened, Davinia, and there was another, I think
we gonna get to that.
Were organizing the vigil. I remember that, right? Because we actually just had one at my institution. And so it really exposed, how much work that needed to be done. And so for me, it was like, how am I going to position myself to be able to amplify my voice and my students' voices? And so when I see people treading around, I'm like, all right, you on my list. And not in the sense that I'm going to get you. I'm going to try to come into a space to work with you because it's my role, right? And I don't feel like students should have to be the ones explaining or justifying them being there. And so it gets tiring. There's a lot of emotional labor that comes with it. But I found the further along I got, and it happens at every institution I'm at, and I was just talking to somebody about this, there's only so far you can go with certain spaces before it becomes a problem where your safety or your mental health, there's things that are at risk, and you have to gauge, is it worth it? Do I have to go to grow or what? And so it got to that point, and I had to leave, but I made sure that before I left, my mark was there, and it was there even after I left. And so I think that for me is, as I'm transitioning through other spaces, making sure that I'm naming stuff to the best of my ability and calling stuff out to the best of my ability, because this whole niceness stuff, that's what's keeping people in these oppressive spaces in the first place. And so, I politically correct, just say it so we can work through it. When you trotting around with stuff, I can't trust you, but if you're naming what's in the room, I can work with that. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I like that. Devin, were you gonna say something? I don't want to exclude you if you were going.
I mean, they've answered pretty much my opinion. Like, just to add that, I'm not in the business of nursing white fragility. And so if you are uncomfortable with calling me Black, or if you're uncomfortable with asking the right questions to understand who I am, get comfortable. I don't know what to say. I can't anymore. I don't have the energy to make sure that everybody feels okay at the risk of my own mental stability. No, that's not going to happen anymore. And so if you can't get past the hard the fact of that you'll have to be uncomfortable. Why? Because we've been uncomfortable.
Mhm.
You have to be uncomfortable, and you have
Mm.
to ask the questions, and you have to be okay with sitting and listening and being wrong and being told that, maybe your way of thinking is incorrect. And if you're not down for that, I'm not going to pat you on your back. Sorry.
And let me just say, Devin is saying something very critical here, because I want all my people who are watching, um who are white, to really understand that this is real. This is very real. And so the discomfort that some people may be feeling, especially of late, because this has been the newest wave of people getting acclimated with Black Lives Matter and wanting to be involved in social justice and different things. Being uncomfortable, although it may be a new feeling, and there are a lot of terms and different things that you're just encountering, understand that we've been living here, paying rent, and the living conditions aren't that well. So what I want you to do is just pull up a chair, and we're gonna sit here together, and we're gonna get through this. All right. And that's just kind of how it has to be right now. Not that we're trying to be disrespectful or mean or cruel. It's a matter of, in order for you to understand, you're really gonna have to step into this, and in a way immerse yourself. That way, if you really want to be a part, if you really want to be an ally, if you truly want to understand, I'm gonna take you on a journey. But don't try to jump out the car while we driving, all right?
And
Mhm.
Ralph, can I add something
Mhm.
to that real quick?
Yes, yes.
Because I've also experienced where people always ask, and they ask sometimes in sincere places, but sometimes not. Um, you know, are y'all being over dramatic, or is it really the experience that you live every day? And is everything always about race? Yes. Yes, yes. The answer is yes. It's not that we can just turn on and turn off racism every day. It's
Mhm.
it's the real deal. We're not playing the black card because that's where all that options for reasons for why we're experiencing something. In many cases, it is in fact the reason that we're experiencing things. And so, having conversations to realize, we're not just talking about stuff because it is the topic of the day, or because we see it on the news, or because we know somebody from a third degree or a fourth degree that has experienced racism. No, when we're talking about racism, we're experiencing it every day in the forms of many ways, sometimes major, sometimes micro. And so this conversation, this topic, though it may feel uncomfortable and people may get tired of it, in reality, it's something that we live with on a day-to-day, consecutive and consistent basis.
Yep.
And at the end of the
Yep.
day, like you got 450 years to catch up and then some. So when people talk about racism, they only look at the
Yeah.
individuals. They're not looking at the system. They're not looking at the system. They're not thinking about how we have or don't have access. Why does it have to be we have to amplify our voices in ways that is showing up through protests, it's showing up through this, racial battle fatigue, it's showing up through these organizations we have to form. It's because of the system that was never built to support us in the first place. So when you have people that are in these spaces trying to advocate for ourselves or advocate for themselves, you're always going to face a disconnect. White folks have never had a space to talk about what it means to be white because they never had to. They never had
Exactly.
to. And now we're in a position where it's like, we're not going anywhere. So either you are going to lean into the conversation and sit with the discomfort, or you're going to fall behind. Like that,
Exactly.
point blank period. And in 2020, I'm not in a position to educate too many folks. I'm trying to educate myself and preserve what energy and peace I have left. So if you don't know how to Google, I encourage you to
Come on.
pick up a few books. There's
In
too many
fact, in
resources
fact,
Oh,
out here for folks. I'm sorry. I listen. Don't get me started, because
say
I
it.
think that's the
Say
other
it.
piece too.
you
At the end of the
Listen,
day, it says, "Oh, well, teach me how to be a better white." No, you teach yourself how to be a better white.
yeah.
Like
yes,
I don't,
yes,
and I
yes.
really can't do much with that, and I have a lot of great friends from different backgrounds,
Mhm.
ethnicities, but if you're not willing to do the work, it's only so much I can help you with. I'd rather put my
Yes.
energy into spaces of people that need the space and the energy to be.
Exactly.
So
You
Exactly.
I'm
are
gonna stop
speaking.
there because I can
And
go all
and
day,
Yeah.
and let me let
but
y'all know. Let me let y'all know how easy this is. Hey Google, what's Black Lives Matter?
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. Black Lives Matter is a
And can I tell you
decentralized
something,
political and social
Raphael?
movement advocating for nonviolent civil
They will
disobedience
have-
and protest against incidents of police brutality and
Listen.
all racially motivated violence against.
My God. Okay, that's enough. All right, that's enough.
Girl, you showing out. And I wanna
Came to play today.
I wanna put some sprinkles on that Sunday because like Jasmine,
I do too.
all day. And the reason I love Jasmine is because when she came to campus, we had these conversations off rip.
Yeah.
And so the thing for me
Yes.
is that
Yes.
I tell people, and the thing is that, like Jasmine said, I have friends from different backgrounds, and simultaneously, I do keep my friends limited in certain capacities because there are certain things that I know myself, and I don't have the capacity for. One, if you know me, you know white tears don't move me. They don't move me. I'm not moved. I can't empathize with that. And I can't empathize with a 450-year lead. So the thing is that the empathy and the sympathy that you want, stop asking your black friends for it. And if you're going to ask them, stop asking me and mine. And
Yeah.
additionally, my thing is that ignorance has never been bliss. And the thing is that if you look at that from the other end, how many of us have started to do those DNA tests? How many of us are still caring for our elders so we know our stories? Like, we know it's not bliss. So when people are acting as if they don't know, I take it personally and I think it's intentional. Because the thing is that if you invested in stocks, you know the price of an Apple stock.
Come on.
You like cars, you could tell me your favorite tires. You like books. Some of y'all quote Harry Potter like y'all wrote it.
My God.
You know what I mean? You like this, you like that. You know, you're aware. And the thing is that what happens is what people don't realize. And like I said, definitely white people, but as we've seen, also other people of color, y'all don't want to know because y'all benefit from the system. No problem. But when you talk to me, I'm going to treat you like you know better. And if you don't know better, shame the devil, honey, and call him up. Because I don't have the capacity. And I'm not gonna give it to you.
Not call him up, call him out.
Call him out.
Mob dry.
Call him out. And don't we're tired. We're tired. Going to a PWI, seeing the things that we've seen at Lake Forest when everything was first coming out, having to pull President Scott into his office, having to pull a thing Flott, having to use Jasmine. Huge shout out to our literal angel, Dr. Dozier. Like that. No. If I go to this expensive school, this private school, though I do love it, and I can learn and be open-minded, I'm not excusing somebody in my class. I'm not excusing your mama. I'm not excusing your auntie, and your grandmama know the best. Because she probably was there when we were still trying to vote.
The video.
My God. Yep, go and take another sip.
We back in the Rosemary house right now. We back in the Rosemary house.
Jasmine, let's not
This
talk.
is a nice meeting.
I'm just talking about on the couch with the video in the Rosemary house.
Goodness.
That's it. That's all I'm
My
saying.
goodness. Devin, you got something to say?
I don't know what to say because they're hitting it on the head. Like, listen, you're not going to do your own work if you're not, like the video said. If it matters to you, you will research it before you come ask me. If it mattered to you, you would have understood what Black Lives Matter means. If it matters to you, you would have understood what the George Floyd incident meant before you went and asked me about it. Or I'm not going to be your Black friend savior to let you know, talking to your white friends. I talked to my one Black friend, and so I'm woke now. No. I'm not gonna give you that benefit. I'm not gonna share my opinions with you so that you can feel comfortable as if you are now aware of the experience. Go read a book. Go watch a movie. Go watch Roots. Go do something. Learn. Educate yourself, and then come talk to me. Like I'm all about it. Like I'm not here for somebody's personal things, particularly for those that have no real true interest in learning and being better. Now, if you're interested and you're genuine,
Mhm.
and and I can speak for myself, and I know I'm sure this is the same for you all too. But we can tell when people are genuinely trying to learn something,
Yes.
genuinely confused. And I have friends who have called and said, I genuinely don't know what to say. I don't know how to feel.
Mm-hmm.
I've done my research. I understand what's happening from a text to text, but I just need to understand the color and the commentary. And if it's
Mhm.
coming from a genuine place, I'm absolutely pull up a seat. Let me tell you about what it feels. If it's going to motivate you and entice you to be better, then absolutely. But if it's a check the box kind of routine for you, so that you can still feel like you're not racist or that you care about Black people, please get past my name on the dial tone.
Yeah, amen. And Devin,
Okay.
like I said, let me extract that real quick. Please, if like Devin said, we can understand the pureness of heart. We can pick that up. All right. So if you do for real have questions and you've done your research, don't feel afraid, because sometimes that can be a sore spot as well. Just come with it, be straight up, ask your questions. All right. Like we real likes real. Okay.
And
Real likes real.
if
Okay.
I
Right.
may, and I'm
Right.
gonna leave it alone. What I really feel, because I know I say things and I know it's a good time and I'm a good time. But I need everybody tuning in, white, black, brown, otherwise. What bothers me is the laziness. White people, how dare you continue to be lazy and still need help? Still, you are asking from the milk from my mother's breast. Still, you are asking for my father's hard labor. Still,
My
you are
God.
asking for our kids. Still, you want my little Black kids to tell your little white kids. It's like still, once you educate yourself, you stop some of that. The audacity to engage in slothness, one of these seven deadly sins. How it's like it's the audacity to not even go and pick up a book or anything, and that's including those learning and not. So we're talking about PWIs. Imagine going to school with somebody for 4 years and they've never taken a diversity course or anything of that in their nature, and they
My
still are
God.
looking at you like, educate me.
My God.
We go to the same school.
Mm,
How dare you?
mm.
It's a thick one.
Yep,
It's a
that's
thick one.
good.
True.
That's
And
good.
digest
Okay,
it
so
too. Digest. Okay, so right, like, go ahead. No, go ahead, Ralph. Go
okay,
ahead.
because
We only have an
I'm telling
hour.
you, well,
Yeah, I was about to ask, like,
we
come
gonna
on,
give
give us a good
give
pour.
a little buffer room. We'll give it's supposed to be an hour, but we gonna give a little buffer because we haven't.
Okay.
I kind of want to go very personal experience.
Okay.
So I want to talk about something that Jasmine alluded to, and then I want to get Kelly Jacobson's question, because she kind of asked the question, how does this transcend over into the workspace now, when you're in a
Mm.
predominantly white workspace? So we're going to get to that. So Kelly, thank you for that. But I want to travel back with me, if you would, to a point in time that Jasmine was referring to, the Mike Brown indictment. Uh, y'all know how it went. I'm not even about to delve into that. But at a little town, a little liberal arts college by the lake in the forest, people went crazy. And so Yik Yak, if I could cause a
Stop.
little, if I cause
Oh
some
man.
flashbacks.
Oh my
My
God.
Two words.
That's
Two
trigger.
words. My God. Two
no.
words. Two words.
Oh man.
Yik Yak was a major platform back at that time on college campuses. You can anonymously post something and people could upvote it or downvote it. If it got so many downvotes, it disappear. Upvotes, it would stay there. And it was the randomest things on there. So the Mike Brown indictment comes out. Officers, slap on the wrist, and pretty much the things start flowing in. The I thought this week about going back and finding them because I feel like I still have the screenshot somewhere, but I said I wasn't going to do that to myself because it was already a hectic week and a stressful week, and I wasn't going to add that to my life. But y'all, if I could tell you some of the things that were said, the blatant ignorance that was shown, the racism, the bigotry, and hiding behind the screen. Father God have mercy. It was a lot. It was a lot. So let's kind of dive into that. I want to see where first off, where were you guys, the night that it came out and all this mess ensued. Kind of take us through how you were feeling during that time. And the reason why I want us to do this is because sadly, and I can probably say this with confidence, and it's bad that I can say this with confidence, this will not be the last time that a black man is shot down in America because of police brutality, and there's an uproar, and we see that the officers walk away with a slap on the wrist. And if there's anybody in my comments that want to act a fool, let me just let you know right now, you can exit right
Please
there. I don't have time tonight. But because it is...
We got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't have time, but the other people do. Raphael Mathis doesn't, but the other ones do. But I want you guys to talk about your experience because there are college students who are living through George Floyd right now. There are college students who are doing this virtually and don't have the community, and they need to know how to process through this. And then there are college students that are going to be coming after us that may be tuning in that need to know. So I want y'all to kind of talk about, how you were doing during that time. So I don't know who wants to jump in first, but y'all, let's kind of talk that through.
Can I start with this one? Because I feel like, unfortunately, it's deja vu all over again. It feels like deja vu because honestly, Drump 45 was about to, well, this was a few years before, but it was a lot of things leading up to Drump 45 coming into office. But I was at home when the verdict came down. They weren't going to indict the police officer. I remember seeing, I was downtown, south side of Chicago, south side of St. Louis, and they had tanks and artillery, and it was at least 2 miles long driving into Ferguson because of the riots. And I was home because it was over Thanksgiving. And I remember coming back and you could just feel the weight on the campus, for one. You could feel the weight. You could feel the despair. Because to me, I feel like that was, I don't want to say the beginning of the end, but that was just the beginning of kind of where we are now, in my opinion, in terms of how I see, racism unfold and white supremacy unfold and just the pervasiveness of anti-Blackness unfold. To me, that was the moment. It wasn't Trayvon Martin for me. It was Mike Brown for me, and so that was, to me, I'm like, dang, this is an awakening. I need to make sure that I'm ready to go and I'm fortifying my well-being and my energy so I can be here for my students. And the more I started to dive into the work, the more I started to recognize, the issues within that institution, the heavier it became. And so at that point, it gets to a point where all you can do is try to survive. So you find your communities, you make sure you educate yourself, you make sure you provide a space for students. And, Katarina talked about the couch. Everybody knew about the couch. I had students come up in my office frequently to shed their tears and share their frustrations, right? And so as a space of an educator, I had to sit with some problematic stuff. Y'all, I'm not going to go into detail, but everybody out here knows what I'm talking about. I had to sit with some problematic things, and I had to figure out a way, because there's a different level of risk if you have minoritized identities, right? And so, Davinia, get yourself. So, I had to figure out how to navigate that, but also making it very clear that I wasn't with it, and so it got to the point where I had to go to grow, right? And I felt like I got to a point where I couldn't do anymore. But I think, in that moment, it was very scary. It was like, dang, like they really do hate us. They really do hate us. They are, and I say they as in just the concept of what it means to be white, the concept of what it means to understand anti-Blackness. It's embedded in our system. So if you're not actively thinking about it, actively, trying to dismantle it, that means you are supporting it. And when you start to see that, it plays on your psyche, right? Like you get depressed, you get sad. And so it's like, how do you start surviving? And it shows up in different ways. I gained so much weight. I'm still gaining weight from all the stress, but I also know that I have a higher calling. So I'm trying to fortify my energy when I can. But, it's a lot to take in. And I think too, Black folks, we're tired. I don't have the energy to carry whatever guilt you have with you. I need you to educate yourself. I'm willing to go a little bit further if I know that there's folks that are coming from a genuine place and want to learn. But even in that sense, I'm only going to give you an inch. You need to take that mile and do the work, And so that was my experience. I think that it got increasingly toxic for me. I had to figure out how to find my space. I had a group of folks on campus that I still love to death that kept me, my allies, my folks in my communities, my students. I love y'all. Y'all carry me, right? And so, and it's a cycle. I'm dealing with that in different ways now, and I don't think that's ever going to change because of what I do, And so every time I go to a different place, I'm learning something different, so I can continue to do the work. But until we can eradicate this system, we got work to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna speak my piece on that. But yeah, it was a lot of psychological and even spiritual warfare that you have to deal with when you're in predominantly white spaces. So my advice, especially for students or in the workplace, find your people. And not all skin folk are kin folk. So you got to figure out how to maneuver those folks in those spaces too. But find your people, right? Like find your people.
Yeah.
All right. You don't open that thing
That's
wide
it.
open,
That's
Jasmine.
it.
Go ahead, Davina. Go ahead, walk in. Jasmine slung the door open.
And
So.
you know what? You have to take a moment, like when you were talking about Chicago, Raphael, Jasmine knowing that she was from, I was about to get real hood. I was gonna say knowing she was from the Lou, from St. Louis.
The Lou, you had it right.
Knowing that my girl
Say how you
was from
see
the
it.
Lou, it was we felt it. And the thing about the Black community at Lake Forest, let's say, all jokes aside, if it was 50 of us, let's just say, I want to say at least 35 to 40 of us were like close.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can do their own thing. But when it happened, that was one of the first shock waves that I had felt about something like that, like where I burst into tears, and where in the community and Jasmine, people are coming in and thank you for carrying us, but is thank you enough? Because before you came, all we had was Dr. Dozier, which is why everybody's like, have you met Dr. Dozier? Have you met Dr. Dozier? Have you met Dr. Dozier? Because in a natural sense, we're also like, please connect with this other adult Black woman who is not delusional, or I don't even by far, and make sure you're safe. But we felt for Jasmine. But when Mike Brown happened, I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it whatsoever. And the thing about it is, the Black students on campus, that's all we were talking about. That's literally all we were talking about. That's all we had, because
say for the people in the back.
And we just banded together. And the thing is that it hit me, and it's still one of the proudest things I ever did to this day. It hit me at the time to contact the person over at Diversity and Student Affairs and say, we need to do something as a campus. And, it was conversation around it. You got to meet with the dean, anytime you do something as processes. But I remember telling Dean Flott, who I still have an enormous amount of respect for, always will. I remember telling him, I said, Dean Flott, we make it a mission to bring Black and brown students in. Y'all make it a mission to get them in First Connection. If you don't say anything right now, if what I'm trying to do doesn't take place, do you know what we're saying? Do you know that looks fraudulent? How dare we sit idle? We cannot sit idle. And most importantly, I'm not sitting idle. I am definitely going to do something and say something. Raphael immediately was in on it. I want to give a huge shout out to Charles as well. Shout out to Essential Oils. And we you know, I jumped into action, and I also want to give a shout out to Vic Winter and Lexi Lanu because both of them were on my side. And when I came up with the visual, what I was met with was, oh, it's a good idea, but we don't want to push it too aggressively. And I was like, no, I want the email that goes out to the student population, because if you got that power, I want the email to tell everybody to wear black in solidarity. I want people to know, hey, Aisha, I think I was your RA. I want people to know that something going on. I don't want everybody to go. I need us to look like a unit. And when we got there and put it together, and I battled some with that, and Jasmine knows because the couch went to Jasmine frustrated, and Jasmine, of course, gave me the courage to press on and go on, and was back behind me full steam. And when I put it together, I wanted Jasmine to speak, but at the same time, I'm like, you just came back. You know, you want that experience because you know that nobody can talk about home better than home. At the same time, Jasmine was at home. You know what I mean? That's thick. So for me, I also knew Jasmine. Jasmine knows me very well. We've always been very honest with each other. And she said, no, I can do it. But she admitted, she was like, Davini, I won't have much to say. I said, get up there and tell them that you're angry. Get up there and tell them that you're sad. I don't want to police anything like that. And I wanna make sure that it's genuine and authentic, because the thing is that Lake Forest is we're accustomed to a little policing. Oh, you want to do a vigil, but we're not gonna tell everybody wear black. Oh, you want to do something, but let's do it in the smallest center on campus. And it's just like, either you with it or you're not. And
Exactly.
if the thing is that, and I believe this quote, if you're on the fence, you're on the side of the oppressor.
My
because
God.
the thing is that there is a moral and just like an ethic right to things. And the thing is that you cannot pride yourself, which they changed that language, Lake Forest marketing. Good job. You can't pride yourself as a school of Chicago. Because I'm glad y'all switched that up my sophomore year. And then turn around and not represent Chicago. Not represent me. I'm your RA. Y'all have given me your freshman children. I'm not letting this slide.
Yep.
I'm not letting this slide. And it was just a rough time. And really quickly, Yik Yak. So for people who don't know, and as Raphael explained it, Yik Yak was a radius thing. So it wasn't just the people at Lake Forest commenting on Yik Yak. It was people in Lake Forest commenting on Yik Yak.
Exactly.
Lake Forest High School.
Lake Forest is in the top 10 to 15 wealthiest neighborhoods in the United States of America.
Exactly.
So you can imagine where it puts them on a world list. And then additionally, Lake Forest as a city is predominantly Republican. And we're not tapping into politics, but when you get on Yik Yak, and before we gotten accustomed to it, which is disgusting, but when you get on Yik Yak and people are like, well, why did he? Or when you get on Yik Yak and people are going, the N words know better. Now I'm only saying N words because some of y'all are faint of heart, and I ain't even got it in me right now. And on top of that, Raphael is a man of God. He would appreciate that. He would message me out there and be like, D, but you know me, you know I'm
good. I know you are.
But you know, when you see that on campus, and the thing about Yik Yak, it was anonymous. It was terrifying because you don't know if that comment came from the burbs or if it came from South Campus.
Yes.
That was terrifying.
Or the person in the room right next to you.
Who
may be giving you the eye. Jesus.
It became a thing where it was because around that time, a black boy on campus got jumped by some white boys on campus. And the reason I knew about that, and Jasmine knows what I'm talking about as well, because it came to her office, is because I was an RA. So when you see that, the black kids, we started, and consciously and unconsciously, like a tribe that we are, hey, it's late. It's been plenty of times me and Raphael
Yeah.
have been somewhere late. He's like, wait on me a few more minutes. I'm like, wait on me a few more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For people who don't know, Lake Forest campus is this big. Imagine being so
That's
scared.
and
to take
that's
6 minutes
that's being
off.
liberal.
That, man, liberal capital L. And we became
Facts.
scared. It was scary. We weren't going to the store by ourselves anymore. We weren't hanging out in town anymore. We
That's
were
right.
together. We were scared because you don't know who's saying what. And so when a Mike Brown thing happened, a lot happened. I saw Lake Forest, but when I was talking to Dean Flock and I was talking to Scott, I didn't hesitate. I'm disappointed. Lake
Benny,
Forest,
can I jump in on that one?
Yep. Talk about it.
please.
Can I jump in on that one? Because I share, I share a sad perspective on this one too. Because there are only 2 times in my college career that I cried and cried seriously, and both of those times were race related. And correct me if I'm wrong, or attempt to correct me if I'm wrong. But Mike Brown and when 45 got elected, 2 times I ever cried on campus.
I will never forget that day.
That was terrible, and we don't got time to go through that. But in this situation with Mike Brown, I'll have to just say, like,
I just got
I
heavy.
commend Davinia, I commend Jasmine, I commend Raphael for sticking to their guns. I was not that kid, unfortunately, and it's one of my most regrettable moments in terms of at the time when they were acknowledging the march and the rally. During that time, I had just become elected student government president. And so all of this was happening, and I'm in my head thinking, okay, how am I about to play a voice in this? Because now I'm a student leader and I got to do it. And I will not name names, but I got some unwarranted, unsolicited advice that, you're the student government president, you represent all folks. And while you should be there to support the rally, and I was there, I was dressed in my black, I think it was on December 10th. I got advice that my speech, the way that I project in that particular event should be inclusive for all. Make sure that it wasn't going to incite any, further issues and complications. And this was coming from, senior folks at Lake Forest, senior folks, and I was intimidated. I said, you're right. And it's funny because I have a clip of my speech for the night or the rally, the sit-in, the lock-in, where we all dressed in all black. And I have a speech of what I said. And I regret how watered down my response was because I was so set on being such a diplomatic and, I have to represent the entire organization and student body, not just my experience as a Black person. And so I think as a Black person, I took off my identity in that moment and I put on a fake president of what? Student government, 1,500 people, nobody even voted like that. It was like I put on this big, stupid facade of who I thought I should be in a moment. And it wasn't until halfway through my presidency that I realized, like, you have let yourself down, you let your community down in that moment. And I vowed I would never do that again. And to this day, I refuse to put on any kind of facade or, for the sake of this organization or for the sake of this company or for the sake of this, tone it down. No, not ever again. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. And what really taught me was that I had strong Black leaders like Davinia. She was a couple of years older than me, or a year older in terms of just career. And she was a North Star. She was fierce and she wasn't intimidated. And Jasmine came in and she was fierce and wasn't intimidated. And Raphael, my year, he was fierce and wasn't intimidated. And here I was being so fragile with my identity, and I don't want to offend people. And by the end of the year, and it's funny, I look back at emails, and Raphael can attest, we cut up. We cut up.
Cut a fool. Let him have it. Don't
You
get me
said
started.
something to us, we went off. You attacked us, we went off. We did not care by the end of it. And it was the Mike Brown situation that made me realize that I cannot be ashamed of who I am. I cannot be ashamed of my color. I cannot allow anything to water it down. I can't allow people in high places. The Bible says there's wickedness in high places, but whole separate conversation there.
Mm.
But yeah,
But
so this
also
was a
very
learning
relevant.
experience. It
Also
was a
very
learning
relevant.
experience.
Yeah, that wickedness in high places, although that's a whole nother thing, it also amen, bless his high day forever. Okay, so I know we thicken this, y'all, and we got a good number of people riding with us. So if I could just get 10 more minutes of y'all time, my guest, just 10 more minutes, because I want to
I
be
said
able to
let's
have us
take
wrap this up.
20.
This
Yeah,
one.
why are
And
we
Davini will
rushing?
take us
I
to
want
20.
to shout
No,
out
we
all
want
of my LFC folks who I see y'all in the comments. I love y'all. I
exactly
miss
because
everybody
y'all rocking
dearly.
heavy.
Yes.
Y'all are
I'm reading
rocking
the
heavy.
comments too. RJ, you know you've been my baby. You always be my baby. And to anybody out there
Almost said
wondering if I
something.
was your RA, it was one of the proudest moments of my life because y'all
Mhm.
know I was gonna keep it real, and as I like to say, I was gonna keep it trill. I don't play that.
Come on.
It's so good.
So, okay, so y'all, you guys talking is just bringing everything back up during that time because it was
Yeah.
so much. Oh my goodness! And so then thinking about Devin, you brought up a good point as being a Black person in leadership at Lake Forest because there is a balancing act that has to take place as a result of that. And I don't think we don't have time to get into that, but I just want to say that just being at a predominantly white institution, being a Black leader, the weight and the stress
Oh
that
goodness.
rests on your shoulders, no matter what leader you are. And don't fool around and be a leader like a student government president or UBA
No,
president
no.
or being leading a charge or being a creative and Black and doing something controversial on the campus. My God, I wouldn't
Can I
wish
give
that weight
one
on
example?
anybody. Yes, please. And then we're gonna
I,
shift because I'm starting to get
yeah,
heavy.
I know. That's sorry. You just woke up, but I
I think
mean,
we
there's
need a
not.
part two. I think we need a part two.
Exactly.
Yes,
We
We need
please.
a
probably
part
do.
I'm
two.
down
We
for a
probably
part
do.
I
two.
am so
I
Okay,
sorry.
think that we're good
Devin,
with
while
it.
you're talking, the people in the comments, if y'all want a part two, I need y'all to let me know because we're not
Y'all
gonna
want a
do it
part
unless
Please.
y'all
two?
say it. So, Devin, go ahead.
I mean, so just to that point, man, I mean, it resonates with me all the way to the end because even so, I was the senior class speaker, my graduating year, and there was a line in my speech that acknowledged the fact that I was the first Black speaker in 2 decades. And when I said that, I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that I was the one. Um, whatever, RJ. I wanted to make sure that that was correct. And so I went to the archives in the library, and they confirmed that there hadn't been a Black speaker in 20 years. And I wrote that in my speech. And of course, everything has to go through the processes, and everything has to be, checked, double checked. And somebody had the audacity to say, you may not want to say that because it makes the institution look bad, or it doesn't shine a good light on the institution. And it's like,
I'm
That's
gonna
how
throw this
racism
microphone.
works. That's how.
Not
Okay.
not
My God.
$50,000.
Yeah.
$200,000
Okay.
You want
at
our
that
rhythm,
Yes.
but you don't want our
Yes.
blues. You want our
Come
rhythm,
on.
but you don't want our blues. So if
Please
you
say
don't,
that.
if
Please.
you want me, you're gonna get all this. Otherwise,
Yes.
don't ask me. And don't try to get me
Yes.
to ask my students either, because I'm gonna tell them to speak your truth and I'm gonna back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
when
that's
Amen.
you
the thing.
listen,
Let me just say, I really want to encourage a Black student on here right now to understand that the school that you're going to, and I don't care what y'all think, I'm gonna say the school that you're going to, they're there for you. Remember that, okay?
Yes,
They're there for you.
that is true.
So if you need to speak your mind and say your piece, they are obligated. It's their job description to listen. And I don't want
Facts.
anyone to be scared for a moment and think that in times of adversity that you do not have a voice. You better get you a microphone, a megaphone, and get on top of the tallest building at your college campus and scream,
Mhm.
And
and they
most
better listen.
importantly,
And
ask
I
them to put out their
Man,
job description. Challenge
listen,
people to what
and
they're getting paid
I
for.
wanted to say this
exactly.
from a I can say I want to say this too from a lens of a staff member in the space, because I think a lot of times you all have platforms. We have platforms as students to be able to amplify our voices in ways and advocate and protest or whatever. It's about the process for one. But the one thing that people don't talk about that is very real for people
Mhm.
like us is that we don't take in consideration the risk. I know that when I step into spaces, I have to navigate the risk. I have to understand the risk. And the older I get, the more I'm educated, the more spaces I can occupy. I'm okay with that risk. But I think that's another
Mhm.
missed point. A lot of times students need to understand the risk that's involved to your community, not just these folks in these
Yep.
spaces that are upholding this anti-blackness ideology or this white supremacist ideology. You need to understand what that risk is. And sometimes it is that moment. So to speak to you real quick, Devin, I had that moment too. There's been times where I made missteps, or there's been times where I'm like, man, I could have done something different. And because I didn't say something, this is now the repercussions. And the more I started thinking about that, I'm like, if your journey is rooted in my oppression, if your experience or me having to mute my experience comes at a cost to my livelihood and my folks, I'm not with it. So it's best if you not ask me to be in this space, because I'm going to say my truth, and I'm going to
Yes.
say the truth to others. And so has that gotten me in trouble some ways? So freaking be it. Because if there's one person that doesn't like me, there's a million other that are staying in the margins with me. So I want people to know that there is a risk that's involved with it, but you have to really define who you are and understand what your truth is, because you can't expect people to do it for you. Unfortunately, we have to demand our right to be in these spaces.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my. And once you're there, demand, you're right, and then get in there and tear it up.
Tear it
And,
up.
and y'all,
Bust it open.
take take the
Right.
paint off the walls. Take the
Yes.
paint off the
Yes.
walls. Take the doors off. Don't
Exactly.
be afraid to
Remodel the
challenge.
place.
And the thing is that the reason that my president knows my name is because when he first met me, I was challenging him. Like we was back in the city on 35th.
Come on.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Raphael, go with your next question because I'm getting excited.
Yeah, we got to do a part two.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
Okay,
with
so the comments have spoken. I got a lot of people. Hold on. Somebody said, "Yep, yeah, y'all can see them." Part 2, part 2. So yeah, we got to come back for a part 2 because we haven't even, there's so much that we didn't even get into. So somebody
I
said, I
can't
want a
wait for part two.
series. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, there's enough. There's enough for a series. Trust and believe. So okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to bring y'all back. And we're gonna have to do this again because there's so much that we didn't even touch tonight. And I really want us to kind of bust this open just a little bit more. So here's what we'll do. I'll talk with them offline, y'all, and then I'm gonna come back to y'all and let y'all know when the next one is gonna be. Okay. So that's what we'll do. So in order to kind of wrap it up tonight, because we have talked about a lot, I just kind of want you guys to give, one last blurb of encouragement for the people, for those
Okay.
Black students, and not just Black students, because we have a lot of students on here that have now transitioned into white spaces in the workforce. So if you could just, because there's a lot that can happen between now and the next time we come together, if you could just drop some encouragement on them to kind of keep them pushing, I kind of want to do that right now as a good way to
Wow.
wrap us up.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna jump in and say, Black students, your alumni, we see you, we love you, we hold you high. You are beautiful, you're intelligent, you belong. And Black students, take up 10 more feet of space on every side. All the space that you're taking up now, take up 10 more feet at school, in and in your white workspaces. What you're experiencing at Lake Forest in your white workspaces, you're going to be experiencing their aunts, their uncles, their moms, and their dads. At your PWI, when you get out there in the world, you're going to be experiencing their parents. And what you need to remember is that, one, we are the supreme. We were born the supreme. And that's not to be debated. And if we weren't the supreme, we wouldn't be so feared. So remember that. Secondly, remember that you are a seed. And the seed ain't going to do nothing but grow, dry or wet soil. But most importantly, you hold on to yourself. And when it gets hard, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's too much coming at you. At the same time, you remember that it's a good day to have a good day. And that you are the gold. And you are your own prize. And most importantly, there's not a space that we shouldn't take up, because every space is a space, because we are a people. And most importantly, whether you know them or not, you reach out to your Lake Forest Black alumni. We are here. And we want to guide you. And best believe, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to mean it, we want to bring the torch and the gasoline and burn it up all with you. I've said in front of Lake Forest multiple times. I'll burn down the whole campus and light an incense with it. Y'all are crazy to think that I won't take the entire thing down with me in order to preserve what y'all say y'all hold so dear. Black people, if we are the people that they need, because they need us, be not confused. You remember that you need it. The bricks weigh up on us. That's all I got.
All right.
And don't take no shorts. And don't take no financial shorts. Enough of that. You demand what you're worth in your pay. Enough of that.
My God.
I'm through.
Amen. All right. Devin and then Jasmine.
Yeah, I love Davinia. Davinia, I love you.
And
I
this
love
sip
you.
from this
I just
cup,
love you
the
so
sip
much.
from this cup is taking me out, literally.
Okay.
And
No, can
and
I
that's
say
Quick
the
something?
thing.
lean. With the quick
The
lean.
sip is a little.
It's
The
the
sip is a little shady. It's a part of the personality. After I say something really good, and you know the people in the comments are like, "Ooh, this girl's driving us crazy." Call me a woman, but this girl's driving us crazy. I gotta lean back and let them know what you think I'm saying is what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Oh
I
my goodness.
I love her. So let me just say, I love being a Black man. I would not change my identity for anything. I love everything that comes with being a Black man. I love the resilience that's built into me. I love the fact that I have a community. Uh, I forget which one, I think it was Jasmine talking about the community. Raphael and I are a part of a group that we talk to daily, and it's just all Black men, and we hold each other up. We're supportive. We're ratchet. There are some group members here. We support each other. It's
Don't
my
talk about too
strength.
much. Don't talk about too
I
much.
know, I know. We ain't gonna go into any details. I'm just trying to keep
I
it.
will take you off the screen, sir.
Wait, Raphael was like, "Don't get put out the house."
Exactly.
I say all that to say, I enjoy it because it's a safe space for us to really be our authentic selves. Sometimes you find yourself putting on, the work face or the school face or the church face or the professional face, and all of these faces where, if you're not careful, you can really be, overexhausted and tired and just frustrated with trying to be something that you're not, or preserving a part of your identity and not experiencing the other part. And so I enjoy very much so being a Black man. I love being an educated Black man. The doors are so wide open for us, being in this culture. Don't be discouraged. Don't be sad, hopeless. We don't operate like we don't have any hope in this world. We have so much hope in us. We have so much resilience in us. We were built off of strong people. And so I am super encouraged just by the conversation. And I also want to point out that we have allies. There are genuine people who do not share the Black experience, who are as passionate as Davinia is about this, and will go to the table and to the boardrooms and be there for you. And it resonates with me because, you know, we're not doing this because we hate white people or we hate other races. It's the opposite. We love you all so much so that we have to correct. We love you all so much so that we have to call out what is wrong sometimes. And so, um, yeah, that's that. Everybody should be encouraged because right or wrong, we're going to get through this. It's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes uncomfortable for you, uncomfortable for us. But at the end of the day, we're moving to some place where we will all be better because I believe that, and we're going to keep that hope alive.
Good stuff.
Yes, facts,
Jasmine.
facts. I mean, I don't really know too much to say outside of, protect your peace. The world is upside down right now. It's not going to probably let up anytime soon. And so I think for me, it's about protecting my peace and putting energy into things that are going to feed me. And sometimes when I say feed me, that means educating folks in spaces that want to be educated. Sometimes it is sitting and crying in a corner. I had to, in essence, I had to leave a space because it was taking so much energy out. People don't leave places. A lot of times they leave people. And I'm not going to get into that. People leave people, they don't leave places, right? And so, I had to take a step back because there was a lot of people there that I loved, right? But at the same time, there were particular situations where it got to me to the point where I'm like, my mental's off. And I can't be any good to anyone if I can't even show up for myself. And so I say all that to say is that, whatever work that you are, whatever space that you occupy, find your community, figure out your position, figure out what mark you want to leave on this world in whatever space you're occupying, and make sure you don't become a martyr because you don't have to, and so I think that's facts. I think I'm still learning that. But I'm also unapologetically Black as F. So, and it's because I don't think people ever are woke. I think they waking up. I'm still waking up, right? And so the more I know, the more I grow, and the more I'm about to hold folks accountable. And if I find that I'm in these spaces and you're not feeding that into me or you're not ready to go on that journey with me, that means there's a timeline and I'm not going to be there too much longer dealing with certain things. And that has happened in every space that I've been in. It's come to a point where it's like, this serves me, this doesn't serve me anymore. And I still have my people. I still reach out to a lot of you all. Y'all can still get in contact with me. Courtney Joseph, our professor there now, that's, kind of took the reins after Dr. Doja left. She's been amazing. I connect with her all the time, and so, or reconnecting with her, should I say. And so y'all got folks here to support you. Protect your peace, protect your energy, check in on your folks, allies, champions, people of color, BIPOC, LGBTQI plus. Check in your people because there's a lot of stuff happening in this world. So that's what I'm gonna leave you all with. Yeah, that's it. Just just protect your peace.
All right. And what I would say to wrap us up is ditto, first and foremost, to all of that. And people just remember that you are something special. If I had to speak to Black people, particularly right now, the world, there's a war against us. And I want to remind you, for real, lean in a little bit, that you're special. Okay. And the fact that you are special means that you will always have a place in every space that you're a part of. All right.
Man.
So I just want you to really realize that. And I need you to hear my voice and my heart when I say that. And so to kind of wrap it up, I just want to use a scripture that we say a lot at my church. And it says, may the Lord bless you and keep you.
Oh,
May
may
he
the
make
Lord.
his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. That is my honest prayer to you. And that's my honest prayer to all of us during these times. Y'all, this has been Friday Night Live. Thank y'all for joining in. We will be back again. And until then, y'all be
Yeah.
safe. Y'all be blessed. We love you all so much. And
So
part
much.
2 is forthcoming. All right. We'll see y'all.
Yes. Love y'all. Bye.